You're a terrible person, Britton.
Yeah. Well, things have been said that are worse.
Let's have you open your beer. Oh, wait.
I already did it.
You had to
I
drink
started
right at the
drinking my
start.
beer right when we started because I'm cool like that.
Dude.
Welcome to Enter the Abyss. I'm Britton,
I'm Cleet.
and we are here to talk about some more scary shit. And I think Cleet found a way to get us back into the Reddit threads.
Yeah, we're going to wallop you with some Reddit threads.
Thanks, Cleet,
Big
for
ol'
getting
wallop.
us back into it.
A big old kangaroo punch.
You and your legal terms of getting us back into Reddit.
Yes.
I love it.
These are parodies.
But of course, this episode wouldn't be the same without a delicious beer in our hands. And today we are drinking Foster's. Celebrated worldwide, brewed in the USA, but founded in Australia.
Almost imagine just drinking one of these out on the balcony. I said it right this time.
Walkout balcony.
The walkout balcony.
Yes, Foster's on standby.
Stand, boy.
Anyway, if you're not catching these inside jokes, you should go back and listen to our episodes. Cleet has a hard time pronouncing certain things, and it's pretty hilarious.
It's past lives living through me. But yeah.
It's your past lives. I doubt it. It's just you not being
Australian, Russian.
able to speak. Anything exciting happened to you this week, Cleet? Anything at all? As you're sipping away in your good old Foster's?
My Fosters. I watched the Color Out of Space.
Well, that's that film. Was it any good?
There's a lot of purple and pink in it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
What's the premise?
So the reason why I watched it is because it's based off a story off H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, I love H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah. So I just like the effects they have in those movies. Like it's like this weird like body horror gore or something.
So is it based off of an actual H.P. Lovecraft story, or is it like loosely?
It's based off a story.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. I haven't read the original story, but essentially like something out of space and time like lands into someone's like front yard, like this family, and they all see this color that like they've never seen before. And that's like a very interesting concept, because I remember when I was in the 6th grade, I looked at my friend and I said, imagine a color you've never seen before, because like your brain can't do it.
I don't think it's impossible.
And like there's got to be more than just normal colors, because all we see on the visible light spectrum is such a small segment of electromagnetism. There's got to be more,
Right.
So it's funny that our brains can't conceptualize it. Great.
Yeah, well, it is funny because you can think of, for example, if I told you, like, imagine an animal you haven't seen. You could conjure up some weird animal, but a color you can't.
Yeah.
You can't physically do it.
And somehow this color had a weird effect on these people, and they all turned into clowns. I'm kidding. Watch the movie.
Maybe I'll check it out. But speaking of H.P. Lovecraft, it's funny because they have a new HBO series called Lovecraft Country. It's directed by J.J. Abrams, and it basically takes a lot of Lovecraft's stories and merges them into this new story.
Normally I'd be really excited, but I saw what they did with The Watchmen, and let's just say I have low expectations.
I actually enjoyed it. I don't know. It was
All right, would you prefer the movie or the series?
the movie, 100%.
Yeah, the movie is way better. Why couldn't they make the series equivalent?
I don't know.
That's what I wanted.
A lot of people, I think, would disagree with you.
Yeah, but a lot of people are wrong.
Wow. All right. Good for you. Speaking of DC, though, because, Watchmen is a part of the DC universe. So because of our current circumstances with the COVID ruining everything that the world has to offer. So DC had their big event this last Saturday called Fandom, where they announced a lot of new movies, like the new Suicide Squad coming out, video games, comics, whatever. But they ended with the newest Batman. And so, did you hear that Robert Pattinson is taking on the Batman?
Oh, we're losing Ben Affleck, the really good Batman. That's
Your favorite. I know you love
he
Ben
really
Affleck.
had a weird face that I showed you. Which movie was it?
Justice
Oh,
League.
Superman, you're here! Like it looked like he was getting really happy.
Yeah, a little bit of a backstory in the movie Justice League. If you haven't seen it, there's a spot where, Superman comes back to help him fight, and Batman pulls this face, and it really upsets Cleet on like a very
Well, I
deep
showed it to
level.
Britain. I'm pretty sure it ruined the movie even more for
I
him.
did. When you made me pause on that scene, I'm like, you just ruined this entire thing more so than it was before.
It's not my fault, man.
I think it was your
wanted
fault
like
because
that.
if you had not pointed it out, I'd have a little bit of a shred of dignity.
It
still
looks
left.
like he's peeing in his pants. Like
Maybe
the
he
kid
is.
that is just like getting this relief.
Maybe he is. You've seen the bat, so can you get out of it? But regardless, and just to geek out for a second, so when they announced Robert Pattinson, which I knew him from Twilight, right? When they announced that he was the new Batman, I had my concerns. Like, I can't see it. But they ended with the trailer, and holy shit, It is going to blow people away. I think that he's going to blow the socks off of people. I think he's going to be a great Batman. So if you haven't seen the trailer, Google it.
Which one is he in Twilight? I don't know names.
I don't
Is
know
he the
either.
main
He's
vampire guy?
the main glowing vampire.
Okay.
Which, funny story, because he's an incredible actor and he hated doing Twilight. But did you see that? Of course you didn't. But the movie he did called The Lighthouse with Willem Dafoe. It's all black and white. You should check it out. It is a mind fuck if there ever was one. But anyway, so we've been rambling for a while. What are we doing today?
We are reading a Ask Serious Reddit thread, which is what is the creepiest, most blood-chilling thing you or someone you know have ever experienced?
Blood chilling. I'm excited to see what we get out of this one. Okay, so back into Reddit we go. Ooh, this one says 18 plus. Okay, this one comes from
Foster's.
So Non Ever Did. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. This comes from Non Ever Did, and it starts with, about 10 years ago, I took my dog out for a short walk. We lived in a run-down but historic part of town, old houses that are either beautifully maintained, abandoned, or generally going to shit.
I love old houses.
They're pretty cool.
Just
My
saying.
wife wants us to move to like a house that's on like the historical landmark, like a house that is historic, and redo it. I think it'd be pretty cool, but I don't know. Those houses kind of make me worry a little bit. There was a good mix of people in that neighborhood. Anyway, walking the dog, I get about 3 or 4 houses down and stop at the corner while Pony sniffs some grass or whatever. Pony the dog.
Did he say his dog's name was Pony, or did he just...
Well, I'm assuming he says.
I mean, I feel like there needs to be a little bit of context. Though,
unless he refers to himself as Pony and he's sniffing the grass. I
or
don't
maybe
see
it's
that
just
being...
one of his kids.
His kid named Pony.
Yeah.
Okay, My Little Pony.
I knew a kid named Blanket once.
Bullshit.
He had weird parents.
His name wasn't Blank.
Yeah, Hippy Dippy. Yeah.
Hippy Dippy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
They named their kid Blanket.
Wow. Okay. Well, I wonder how Blanket's doing these days. Blanket, if you're listening, shoot us an email, please.
I hate my name.
I turn around and suddenly there's a man standing way too close to me. Emphasis on way. No idea where he came from. I'm usually very aware of my surroundings, and Pony hated strange men. I stumbled a few steps back. I immediately had this absolute bone-chilling sick feeling. He asked me, "Is that a pit bull?" And I replied, "Yes." Then he said, "Oh, she'll protect you." Is that a threat, sir? I feel like that's a threat.
I mean, it could be, or you could just be like, wow, that's, that's a pretty good dog.
Yeah, you can say it's a pretty good dog, not, "Oh, she'll protect you."
I mean, I don't think there was necessarily animosity there, or like malice. I mean, it could be, but not 100%.
You trust people too much, Cleeton. That's your
I
problem.
mean, context is important. How did he say it?
Well,
Maybe if he said it like this. Maybe you said it like this. "Oh, she'll protect you. Damn it."
"Oh, she'll protect you, all right." Maybe that's how it was. Okay, so let's read it that way. "Oh, she'll protect you." At this point, my body flooded with adrenaline, and I turned to run back to my house. So that statement alone, I'm assuming he didn't say it good, because you wouldn't run if he's like, "Oh, I'll protect you. Have a good
Again.
day."
Dale and Tucker versus Evil is really kind of,
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
yeah, whatever. People are rude to hillbillies. Maybe
That's
it was
true.
a hillbilly.
That's true. Maybe they just wanted their picture taken, damn it. I saw my mom standing on the porch and thought to yell to her. She had no reason to come out on the porch, and I honestly think she had a bad feeling. I don't know what good me yelling really did, but it was all that I could think to do. Like, "Hey, look, I'm over here." I've never had such a flight response before or since that encounter.
I mean, just like think of it from the other person's perspective, right? He's on a stroll. It's 8 p.m. and he sees like this woman with walking her dog. And he's like, "Oh wow, is that a pit bull? I love pit bulls because they protect people." And he says that to her, and then she screams and runs the other way. Like, I'm just saying, again, it's all about perspective. Maybe she was the ass.
Yeah, from that perspective, it is a little interesting. Maybe he should write like a follow-up. Maybe he commented somewhere along the line like,
It was me.
"Dude, I'm your neighbor. I water the lawn every single day. What is your problem?" Yeah, I mean, without both sides of the story, we can't really make conclusions. But I don't know. Maybe in today's day and age, I think people are just paranoid. So
This story is from Born to Do Dishes.
that's quite the calling in life. Like, you know what? I was born to do them dishes. Your sink's pretty full. Mind if I take care of that for you?
That's a good friend.
You don't need a dishwasher when I'm around.
When I was 16, my parents went out of town for a weekend. It was actually pretty sweet because I got to be king of the castle for the weekend.
I liked when that happened, having the house to myself.
Dude, when you were a kid, that was like the bee's knees, man. You're like, I'm going to watch whatever I want. I'm going to watch some R-rated movies.
I still feel that way sometimes, like when my wife leaves the house with our son, I'm like, I gotta do anything, and then I just sit and do nothing. Like,
hello, darkness,
like nothing exciting happens. Like she's probably imagining, like, oh, he's at home, like sitting on the couch drinking a beer, watching shows, and I'm just like sitting there alone, scrolling through Facebook,
staring at a corner.
staring at a corner. Like, this is my life now. This is great. It's exciting.
So I get home that Friday night and just dick around, internet, video games, etc., and start watching TV around dusk. The way our living room was set up was that there was a set of glass doors right next to the television that looked out to the back of the porch/backyard. The backyard was surrounded by ivy that grew on a hill around at a 45-degree angle. So I'm just mindlessly channel surfing, and I see some movement outside. At first glance, I just dismiss it, thinking it's a bird or a neighborhood cat or something. But I then notice that whatever is moving is way bigger than a bird or a cat. I go and I put my face near the glass and stare into the backyard. And there is some dude just crouching in the ivy, looking into the house. Our eyes meet, and he has a somewhat of a oh shit moment and bolts out of the yard. And that scared the shit out of me. Yeah, that's creepy.
So when you said that, like, he put his face against the glass, I imagine he's like smashes his face against the glass. And he's like looking out, like, and the guy's like, this fucking guy's crazy. He probably just scared the hell out of him.
Yeah. Reminds me of this story when I was a kid. My dad would always stay up till like 2 a.m. watching TV. I guess one night my mom left the purse like on the table, which was by the back door. Mm-hmm. And I guess someone opened the back door while my dad was asleep watching TV.
What?
Grabbed the purse and left. And the funny thing is, I had a dog that would bark every time someone like opened a door. Nah, dude, he was quiet that night. He was taking the night off.
The one night he's like, you know what? I've been barking. These people don't listen to me.
I think he was an accomplice.
Oh, that's a twist.
Yeah.
Did M. Night Shyamalan produce this night?
What the twist?
What the twist?
I hate him.
I think you just gotta let your hate for M. Night Shyamalan go, man.
Just make a movie that's not shit. And quit taking the good ones like The Last Airbender.
Yeah, no, so he fucked that one up royally. But have you seen The Visit? The one with the two kids that go visit their grandmothers?
Nope, I'm done.
So, no, watch that one. Honestly,
No.
That was his redeeming video. That was his redeeming movie. You should definitely check it out. The show that he did for Apple TV, Servant, was really good. But anyway, was that it? Was that the whole thing?
Let's just put it this way, Britton. If I saw M. Night Shyamalan on the street and I said, hey, are you M. Night Shyamalan? Because you got to get verification. I'd slap him. I'd just give him a slap and I look at him directly in the eyes and I would say, you know why.
I don't think you would. I think it's like that thing in the movie where you would picture that happening and then it'd come back to you reality and you're just staring at him drooling. Like,
I can't wait till you see me in the newspaper.
oh, God. Please do. If I see you in the newspaper, local West...
Man rage slaps M. Night Shyamalan for being shitty director.
I almost said your city name. Local Utah man slaps the shit out of M. Night Shyamalan and says, you know why. Mystery still unsolved. We don't know why. All right, so this one comes from Button on My Back. My mom had a stalker for years. I don't like how this one's already starting. She was maybe in her early 30s, and I was about 3, while my brother was around 1 when this started. My dad would leave for work in the morning, and as soon as he was gone, the calls would start coming in. She'd answer the phone, and some guy would be saying all this horribly sadistic and sexual things about what he wanted to do to my mom. Oh my God.
Back when there was star 67, dude, or is it star 69?
Star 69, I believe.
Well, one called back the person, the other one hid your number.
She was beyond frightened and didn't know what to do. Sometimes the caller would describe what she was wearing at that very minute, or describe what she was doing. My parents were struggling financially, so they couldn't just up and move, but my mom started spending more and more time at my dad's mother's house when he was away. The cops got involved, but they couldn't trace the call.
That would never fly today, dude. Like,
Oh,
they'd
God,
be able to find it so quick.
Immediately. Well, I mean, you couldn't hide the number anymore. It doesn't
You
work.
still can, yeah. Star 69 still works.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Finally, they were able to save up enough money to move. I was about 6 by this time, so that's, 3 years that have passed? The phone number was changed and unlisted in the phone book. This is around 1988 when everyone still used landlines. That makes sense. My mom never got another scary phone call, but she had nightmares about it for years. When I was little, I remember going into her bedroom in the morning and she would be sobbing into her pillow. God, this is sad.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it at that point, but she explained later in life that she'd wake up from a nightmare and just shake and cry. A couple months after we had moved, the cops informed us that they finally caught the guy. It was our next door neighbor's 19-year-old son. He had been in the military but was discharged due to severe mental illness. I guess he was put into some sort of special security home that specializes in mental health. The lead investigator said that the son was obsessed with my mother, and they found a box in his room full of a bunch of photographs candidly taken of her when she was out in the garden or playing with us kids in the yard. Ooh, that's sick.
That is creepy.
Ugh.
Like, you got to be pretty, stealthy to snap pictures of people.
Especially back in 1988, you got those big like.
Was that a flash?
Oh shit! Is there lightning? No, it's sunny outside. What are you talking about? It chills me to the bone when I think about it now. Anything could have happened to my mother when my dad was at work, and I'd be too young to help her.
Oh, I'm glad that they were okay.
Yeah, glad they caught the fucker. But it is kind of sad because, with the whole, I know a lot of people come back from war being mentally ill, and I'm not justifying by any means, but like it's just normal for them. Like they don't see anything wrong with it. That's the scary part. There's people that don't see things wrong with that sort of behavior.
All right, this one is from the Lag Demon.
Oh.
I've got one. In college, I worked security for extra money. One of my regular assignments was the overnight shift at a metal fabrication factory. One of the primary reasons I was there was to ensure that no one broke in to steal all the valuable metal that was stocked on site, which was an occasional problem. That, in turn, involved me checking the perimeter fence for damage at least once a shift. That couldn't be done effectively by camera. It instead required physically walking the fence. So it was that one night I was walking the perimeter's fence in the middle of a thunderstorm. That was kind of spooky.
Yeah.
My attention was on the beam of my flashlight illuminating the fence as I walked past.
I like the buildup of
Yeah,
this.
this is good. So I wasn't really focused on where I was walking, despite walking through grass that was a bit over my waist.
Into the tall grass.
There might be a velociraptor in there.
Back to Jurassic Park.
Apparently, I just stepped awkwardly on a patch of particular slick grass or mud as I was heading downhill. But before I knew what was happening, I had slid feet first into an open storm sewer.
Oh.
Ew. Some asshole had stolen the manhole cover recently, and the edges around the opening were wet with rain and mud thanks to the storm.
Who steals a manhole cover? Because out of all the things you can get, do you want to go steal a manhole cover tonight, Cleet?
Dude, some people are
I
funny.
think it sounds awesome.
My friend, learned how to, hack the construction signs. Like, he had the password and the
God.
username, and he would change the messages that would come up there, like warning zombies ahead, and you'd take pictures of it. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
All right. Let me just take a moment to explain the storm sewer. First off, it was shaped just like an oblite.
What?
Yeah, I'm just going to stick with it, man. If you're not familiar with what that is, picture a concrete cell that is shaped like a jug. A small opening at the top with sides that slope inward to prevent someone from crawling out.
So he's stuck.
Yikes. In this case, the bottom was maybe 10 feet square, and an opening for the manhole was about twice the normal width in the center of the ceiling. There was no ladder attached, and the fall was maybe 20 feet down. Oh my God.
Did he break his legs or something? That's a long fall.
I don't know.
He landed in a bunch of shit.
At the bottom of the floor was sloped to form two trenches in the shape of a cross. There were sewer channels going off in four directions, but they were only maybe a foot wide across and were blocked with metal grates. At the bottom, there were debris, including a number of large broken pieces of rebar. There were several pieces that were pointing straight up. I definitely would have impaled myself on several jagged joints of rusty metal had I hit the bottom. So no way to escape a long fall and a probable disabling injury at the bottom. I somehow caught myself by hooking the edge of the opening on my elbows as I fell in. So he didn't actually fall in.
Okay,
Like, he's
that's
just
good.
sitting there like this.
He just caught himself on his elbows.
Lucky bastard.
He's got some cat-like reflexes there, sir.
I dropped my flashlight to the bottom of the pit before I stopped my momentum, so I had a great view of all the broken rebar below me while I was struggling to escape. Maybe that was the collapsed remains of the ladder?
Well,
That kind of
possibly.
seems dangerous. So if the 20-foot, fall wouldn't have killed him, it would have been the
The
rebar.
impaling, yeah.
As I tried to get another handhold, my cell phone skipped out of my pocket and hit the bottom.
It just skipped on out. It's like, doo-doo-doo.
It felt like forever before I somehow pulled myself out of the opening. You got to be careful at that point, man. You got to be
Yeah.
focused, because if you fuck up, you're done.
Yeah, especially now because the flashlight's just showing him all the peril that he's going to fall into.
Gotta bet there was like a crocodile down there too.
Probably. Hippopotamus.
Oh my god. I don't doubt adrenaline gave me the considerable boost of strength, but even so, I nearly lost my hold on the edge 3 times before I managed to scramble out.
Ugh, your arms would be so tired.
This feels like a movie. I was kind of just jerking my knees towards the opening and jumping a couple of inches thanks to my momentum. My free hand kept scrambling for something solid to grab, but I never really found anything. I'm honestly not sure how exactly I pulled myself out, just using the surface tension between the mud and concrete in my hands and forearm. I felt like it was a miracle. All I could think of after I pulled myself out was how I wasn't due to be relieved for another 7 hours. 7 hours before anyone would even start wondering where I was, and that the whole time I might have been trapped at the bottom of a pit, impaled on some rods of rebar in the rain.
God.
I also wanted to kill whoever stole that goddamn manhole cover.
It's like Liam Neeson in Taken. I will find you, and I will kill you. Whoever caused this. But like, I feel like if you were looking at like impending death, you do whatever is necessary to get yourself out of there.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it's a miracle. No, you're not dying. You're gonna do everything you can.
I'd be still super pissed about that manhole cover.
I
I'd
would
be like,
be
who
very-
the fuck took this? They'd probably like, what are you going to do with that? Can you melt it down and sell it? Like, will someone buy that from you? I don't think so.
This comes from TDA Snowman. I was 8 and woke up to an explosion of dog barks and screams coming from our backyard, then the screams trailing down the street. We got outside and my dog is chewing on a bloody shoe and a bit of gym shorts were hanging off the backyard fence. Ooh! We call the cops and they investigate. From the footprints, they could see the guy tried every window with my dog following. When he got to mine, my dog went full attack mode. It's a badass
I like
dog.
that dog. Yeah.
The guy was picked up that night on an unrelated charge, but they put 2 and 2 together later and charged him. My dog allowed them to collect the gym shorts, but that shoe was his. He was happy and let the cops pet him as much as they liked, and animal control the next day when they drew a little blood, but the shoe was his.
Wow.
Pretty
really-
anticlimactic, but
you really
okay.
roughed him up.
Yeah. It's a cool dog, though. It's good for you.
You roughed him up.
Ha! I get it. Roughed him up.
Yeah.
Now,
There
Cleve.
you go. All right, I'm going to do this one by 10 Toasterfield Lane. A bear ran across my yard. A huge bear. I'm in fucking South Jersey. I mean, like, if I was outside and I saw a bear just run across my yard, I'd be scared.
Yeah.
I'd probably just shut my door.
From South Jersey. I'm going to get you. I don't know what a South Jersey accent is. I'm not cultured enough. Okay, this comes from Brofalo Soldier. Brofalo Soldier. Not necessarily paranormal, but this was something that both creeped me out quite thoroughly and chilled my blood to ice water. I was working at a crematory funeral home at the time. I just picked up the body of a girl my age from the county coroner's office and was going through the check-in procedure, which consisted of lots of paperwork, fingerprints, documentation of the belongings, etc. Now, when a body comes to us from the coroner, it's typically an unexpected death that occurred under questionable circumstances. This particular one, I could tell by simply looking at her, was a drug overdose. Yikes. She had very obvious injection sites in her arms, thigh, one on her foot, and what appeared to be needle marks all over her lower abdomen. Like, it looked like this chick went to fucking town stabbing herself in the belly. Oh, that makes me cringe. And the foot, too. Like, the stabbing your foot. Jesus Christ. This was strange to me because I know that isn't a typical place to inject drugs, especially because this girl was a bit on the large side. Nor is it usually a place where the pathologist will draw fluids in a case like this. So it looks pretty... Ugh, and I couldn't do that job. Could you work at a coroner's office?
I don't like blood or dead bodies.
So I bet when you like sliced your foot open, you were having a hell of a time looking at all that blood.
Yeah, my roommate took care of it.
Good thing she's got a strong stomach.
I didn't puke. I just want to look at it. I'm like, fix it.
Yeah, but when you called me, you were in very apparent shock.
Yeah.
Anyway, I shrugged it off and began to document her personal items, which come to us zipped up in the body bag in a black trash bag. Usually the coroner's office provides a detailed list of belongings for liability reasons. This case came with no such list, so it surprised me to see that she did indeed have a property bag with her, tucked under a leg. I tore the bag open and out flopped a fully developed, completely green dead baby. Oh,
sad.
God.
That's not cool.
With a very smushed head. No, I didn't expect this to take such a dark turn.
God, Britton, why'd you pick this one?
I am sorry. I didn't read through it. That's my fault. You can imagine my shock, opening the bag, expecting to find shoes, clothes, maybe a wallet, and instead a tiny human popping out. Long story short, the family did not know, and telling them was horrifying in and of itself. There was absolutely no sort of documentation on this fully developed human, and the coroner was just as shocked as we were. Some jackass autopsy tech had just stuffed the baby in a bag in hopes of us not finding it and cremating it to save themselves some time on paperwork. Already distraught family. That guy needs to go to hell. An autopsy was done on the baby. Family and friends were questioned, the whole 9 yards. Later, a friend of the deceased disclosed that she was the only one who the girl had told about being pregnant, and her plans to try and give herself a late-stage abortion by injecting heroin straight into her womb. Oh, God, this one's dark. Folks, I apologize. Pretty fucked. Needless to say, I was always hesitant when opening property bags in fear of finding another dead green infant as opposed to a pair of Nikes.
You just did like a bear story in South Jersey, you fucking monster.
I know, you're like, this bear ran out, or like,
at least
dog.
Mine was funny.
Hey, I talked about a dog getting a shoe. I didn't read this all the way through. Jesus Christ.
Are you rhyming now?
Don't. Dr. Seuss all the way through and through. All right, what's next, Cleet?
You hurt my feelings.
Take us down somewhere fun. Jesus
I will
Christ.
be telling you a story from Aunt Faintly. I went to see a movie with a friend of mine. It was dark when we got out of the movie, and she offered me a ride home. But it was a pretty short walk. It's like, no, I'll walk.
It's like, oh, no, I'm okay. I'll
So
walk.
I'll go back to my place? No, I'll walk. It's
like,
cool.
That's stupid. Just take the goddamn ride.
Right? It was a nice night, and I live in a really safe town. Usually. What does that even mean?
Usually. Usually you don't
safe?
see anything crazy, but every now and again, some really bad shit goes down. I don't know. I'm already, like, questioning this girl's... Oh, sorry. I'm already questioning...
Man, girl, I don't know.
Okay. I'm already questioning this person's judgment from here on out.
So I started to walk home. I guess I should have mentioned I'm a woman, and a particularly small one. About 2 blocks into my walk, I hear yelling and screaming / moaning. I look at these 2 guys in hoodies are kicking something, but I can't see what because there's a short cement wall blocking my view. They shout something, not at me, and take off in the opposite direction. So I run to where they have been. That all happened very quickly. I get there, and there's a homeless man.
Oh, man,
Uh-oh.
come on.
Uh-oh.
You should have stabbed him with his hobo knife.
And nothing beats the hobo life. But you gotta stab people with your hobo knife. All right. It's really dark, but he's obviously hurt badly. He has a blanket. He was clearly sleeping when these guys came up and attacked him. I actually recognized him, not by name, but it's a small town, and I've seen him around. He gets up and grabs his blanket and looks around for a minute. I try to talk to him, but he just can't really talk to me.
I was going to say, on this note, here in, Utah and Salt Lake especially, we do have a very bad homeless problem. And, even when we were going to work before the whole COVID-19 hit, I recognized several of the same panhandlers. So, I understand, seeing someone that you recognized on the side of the road panhandling. It's unfortunate.
He's quite mentally ill, and he has been hit in the head, and he's just terrified. Takes a couple of steps as I'm calling 911 and ends up under a street light. His head and face are covered in blood with some dirt caked over it. To this point, I can't see any skin on his face. He is way too spooked to let me try to help him. I'm explaining to 911 the situation, but mostly just begging for an ambulance. They want to know about the 2 guys, of course, but I didn't see them well, and I have this guy bleeding from his head in front of me. And then he starts walking. I have no way to stop him, so I just follow a little bit behind because I don't want to be an extra thing that terrifies him, but I also need to update 911 where we are. We made it about 8 blocks before the fire truck intercepted us.
That's a long walk. 8 blocks is a while.
I am shocked he makes it that far. No one else is out. 911 keeps wanting me to give a more detailed description, which is the one point I lost it a little bit. He's the only guy covered in blood walking down the street.
He wouldn't be hard to pick out if you drove by.
Dumbass. I cannot describe how relieved I was when the fire truck showed up. The police talked to me for a little bit, then they left. The guy had been transported and the fire truck was gone. All of a sudden, everyone was gone, and I was just standing there on an empty street in the dark. I took a step and started to walk home, now farther than where I started, and decided to call a friend instead. She drove me back and took me home.
This is probably the friend that's like, I fucking told you to get in the car after the movie.
It was not a completely safe town. There's 2 people that are bad eggs.
And you just happened to walk when they were out on a stroll. See, this reminds me of a story because, Utah, we have our public transit system tracks, right?
Yeah.
And we were downtown one night, and it was me, my wife, and I think we had a couple friends. I don't remember, but I think we had just gone downtown to see the Christmas lights or whatever. And we stopped because a train further down had derailed, so they made us get off so they can go and fix it. But same thing, this guy comes over, he's not wearing a shirt, and it's in the middle of winter, and he's bleeding from his forehead, blood everywhere down his face. And he kept saying, he was talking, we couldn't quite understand what he said, but he kept saying, don't call 911, do not call 911. And we're like, we're gonna call 911, you're just this crazy guy. And it wasn't a shadier part of town, right? It was this isn't a place that I just get out and walk around for fun. So it reminded me of that. But we ended up calling 911, and
you got to make it sort of obvious. You're like, no, I just got to call a friend where we're at. You dial 911. You're like, yeah, we're at the tracks. This weird dude with bleeding forehead is just talking to us. You need to come meet him. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, hey, dude, come here.
Maybe you can give him a ride home too. You have a 4-seater, right? But yeah, it just reminded me of it. But if you see people covered in blood downtown, wherever, just
walk away.
Walk away.
No, don't do that.
Don't walk
they
away.
Might
no,
die.
that's bad. Yeah. Help them out. Call 911. We're both bad. Walk away.
They're on the ground. Kick him. We were the 2 guys.
Leave him to die. No.
If you see anyone sleeping,
just walk up and kick him. Yeah, those guys are assholes. He's just a guy trying to sleep, for Christ's sake. Okay, so this one comes to us from Because I Can't Email.
Oh.
Well, emailing is not that difficult, and it does say 18 plus, so we're in for some pretty good stuff. Okay, this didn't happen directly to me, but is still one of the most unsettling events to happen to my family. I was 10, and my brother was 7. During these years, we shared a room with bunk beds. We lived in a 3-bedroom, 2-story apartment. One night, my mother was out on the front porch reading, and my little brother runs up to the front door, soaking wet and in his underwear.
Oh.
Why are you playing in the sprinklers in the middle of the night, buddy?
What happened?
Understand that the front door was the only possible way he could have gotten outside, and it was locked and deadbolted. He was too small to unlock the ground story windows, and my mother was facing the sliding glass doors, which no one came through. The only remotely accessible second-story windows were locked from the inside. Oh, we've got a whodunit now.
Oh, God.
Right after he ran up to the front door, a college-age kid rode up on his bicycle. Apparently, he had been riding home from work and saw my brother standing in the sprinklers in the elementary school next door to the apartment complex we live in. When he called out to my brother started and after a few seconds ran off back home. From what my father says about that night, there was literally no way he could have gotten to the front door and unlocked the deadbolt. My dad was in the front hall working on a bookshelf right in front of the front door from the time he put us to sleep to the time my brother arrived. The only things my brother remembers from that night are going to sleep, a bright light, and waking up at the school. The event itself is crazy as shit, but what unnerves me is that anybody could have found my brother, but luckily it was a normal, concerned person.
That's spooky. It was probably the aliens.
Well, a bright light. He was abducted.
Or maybe someone took his picture. Yeah, a little snapperoo.
Look at you. Is this 1988? All right.
This one is from Krilled.
Krilled.
A few weeks ago, I was up late celebrating the end of exams with some video games.
Hell yeah.
I was living with my mom and my 96-year-old grandpa until school wrapped up. My grandpa regularly gets up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom or get a glass of water. And when he does this, his feet make a light thud sound that I can hear from the basement.
He probably just does that little, like, slow shuffle.
He also tries to lure kids in the cellar by promising them popsicles.
Guess who? I got some popsicles in the cellar.
So this night around 2 a.m., I hear Grandpa's feet hit the floor, practically on schedule. About 30 seconds later, I hear a much louder thud.
Uh-oh.
I knew that this wasn't normal, so I ran upstairs to see what was happening, thinking he had knocked over a chair or something.
Nope.
He was down there dancing to the Rock Lobster.
I don't buy it. Say what's over there, you fucking dick. You don't fool me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
He actually collapsed, which I would assume that would be like my first assumption.
My
Not
first
that like
assumption.
he knocked over a chair.
It's interesting that
he's probably dead.
Yeah, it's interesting that he's got this schedule down though. Like he's probably got like an alarm, like 2 o'clock. Okay, it's his first drink break. Okay, 4
Oh boy,
o'clock, it's
2
potty
a.m.
break. See, Grandpa's getting some water. Oh, he probably knocked over a chair.
When I turned on the light, he was lying on his stomach trying to get up. I went.
Clear your fucking throat.
It doesn't ever clear. I went over to help him up, and my mom came downstairs to investigate. I sat him down in a chair, and he was somewhat responsive. Well, as responsive as you can be when your hearing is almost completely gone. For about 15 seconds. Then he started convulsing and doing this odd lip-smacking thing. I recognized it as a seizure and told my mom to call 911 while I tried to tend to him. He was convulsing for about 30 seconds before he stopped and started gasping for air, each breath taking longer than the last, until he stopped breathing.
This would be hard to witness as your really elder grandpa. As your really elderly grandpa is like struggling to breathe. That'd be hard.
Yeah. Right there in my arms, he just stopped breathing. I watched his lips turn blue. I couldn't find a pulse, and I watched the color flush from his face. And I froze. I had no idea what to do at all. I was just relaying all this to my mom to tell the 911 operator, and my mom was losing her shit. The 911 operator told me to lay down on the ground because she was going to walk me through CPR. So I pick him up clean out of the chair, all 175 pounds of dead weight, and lay him on the ground to get ready to do CPR. And just before I start, he opens his eyes and says bazinga and starts breathing again. The ambulance got there not long after. Could you imagine that?
Bazinga! Ah, gotcha! Fuck you!
And I'm shouting at him, trying to keep him calm and awake. Did I mention he's almost deaf? By this time...
Yeah, you did mention that.
Okay, all right, good. At this time, he was in his chair, and he was joking with his paramedics that he is too cold to be outside in his PJs. He doesn't remember anything between when he went down and when he was being loaded into the ambulance. I envy him for that, because it's something I'll never forget.
Nah, those old people have a good old sense of humor. I don't know, I feel like if you were about to die and then paramedics get there and you're still living, I'd still crack a joke. Like, I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, make light of the situation sometimes, right?
Yeah, dude, you gotta if I knew I was about to die, like for real, like there was people that I didn't really love, but like knew and liked, you know,
I can only imagine what you do, Cleet.
I'd be like, man, they don't have eyes. Oh my God, this is what's gonna, and then I'll just stop.
Just troll them.
Yeah, the long troll.
Because you know that story would be told forever.
Oh yeah, it'd be on Reddit somewhere.
Do you know what he said right before he died? All right, well, that wraps up this Reddit episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Just a quick announcement. So you will not see a new episode next week. I will be out of town, so we will have a week off, but then the week after we'll have some brand new content for everybody there. And if you have suggestions, email us at entertheabysspod@gmail.com.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Please share because that's the best way to get our podcast out there. And as always, thank you for entering the abyss.
Until next time.